सद्गुरु श्री गजानन महाराज की जय. Namaskar. I am Atul Kokardekar. I feel blessed to present the English pothi of Shri Gajanan Maharaj. With Maharaj's blessings, I hereby start. Guru Shri Gajanan Maharaj ki jai. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Jai to the whole doles out joy. Jai the impermeable form. Let my devotion remain at your feet, with no discrimination of any sort. O Raghupati, come and bless me. Great ones like you should never be harsh. O Ananta, give me a chance to express my part. O Jagannath, don't fail me in my efforts. When Sri Maharaj was at Shegaon, a Brahmin, Kashinath Khanderao Garde, came to the town for his darshan. He prostrated before the Maharaj and was happy to see him as a liberated person. Kashinath's father had described him so at Khamgaon. He felt fortunate to come and see him at Shegaon. While he was thinking, so Maharaj pushed him with his elbow. With this push, Maharaj said, "Go home, your desire is fulfilled. The postman is waiting for you at the door. He has a telegram for you to read." Kashinath was confused and couldn't comprehend the meaning of what the Maharaj said, as he had not come to ask for anything, nor could he ask Maharaj about the meaning. He bowed down to the sun with folded hands and returned to his place Khamgaon. A postman was really waiting at the entrance with a telegram addressed to him. He read the message within an instant. It said he was promoted as a Munsi and was posted at Moshi office. This made him understand the son's elbow nick. Once Maharaj went to Nagpur city on an invitation of Shri Bhuti. Nagpur was the capital of Bhosle's kingdom, but had now lost all his grandeur. This was because of losing freedom, which turned an owner into a beggar and bestowed greatness on foreigners. Elephants and horses were replaced by motors. Changing times have such an effect, and for this no one is to be blamed. Sri Gopal's Bhuti's residence was in Sitavardi, and Maharaj was housed in a palatial building. This was like enclosing a tiger in a forfeited place away from strangers. Sri Gopal Bhuti's intention was to keep Maharaj at Nagpur forever. For Shegaon people, he appeared as a guru. Taking away Shri Krishna to Mathura, Shegaon became a deserted place. They asked Hari Patil to arbitrate. "Please bring him back to Shegaon," they said. "Without him, our town looked dead. You are the head here, and he is a rich man. You giants can fight like elephants. It takes an elephant to fight an elephant, not a puny fox from the crowd." Maruti was selected to face Jambu Mani and Arjuna with Karna in the bows. They requested Hari to go to Nagpur and get the son back to Shegaon soon. In fact, the son stayed reluctantly at Nagpur, like God Shri Krishna at Hastinapur. Maharaj repeatedly asked Bhuti to let him go. Bhuti ignored the request, dissuading him from doing so. Though Bhuti was a pious and decent person, he was also proud of his possessions. He called scores of people to dine with the sun and participate in devotional songs throughout the day. But he did not allow Shegaon people to visit Maharaj. Guests who came to take him were turned back. Now it was Hari Patil's turn. The great devotee boarded the train along with some selected friends on his journey to Nagpur city to bring back the beloved son. Simultaneously, Maharaj at Nagpur said, "O Gopal, let me go away from here before Hari Patil reaches Nagpur. All peace here will be lost soon. You do possess lot of wealth, but he has executive power and strength." Hari arrived at Nagpur and entered Bhuti's house by force, pushing away watchman at the gate, of course. At this time, a big feast was in the offering, with many Brahmins squatting on the sesame plank seats, with silver plates and bowls and good food to eat. Maharaj was sitting in the center on a decorated seat. Such was Bhuti's wealthy decor. He was called the Kuber of Nagpur. Maharaj rushed to the door when he saw Hari Patil like a cow running to her calf after a long party. He said, "Oh Hari, let us go back to Shigao. I don't want to stay here any longer. It is good that you have come." So saying, he started walking out of there. Gopal rushed forward and caught his feet, saying, "Maharaj, don't go before you eat. Kindly oblige me by taking your meals, and then you may go wherever you like." Then he said to Hari Patil, "Please give this pause. Join us in taking prasad with Shri Maharaj. I understand that he wants to go back at all cost. I request you to save my prestige in front of the Brahmins. If Maharaj does not eat any food, they will also leave. It will be matter of shame for me. So please join the feast before you go." Hari Patil agreed to this. Maharaj and devotees took their meals. A lot of people gathered to take the sun's darshan. Janki Bai, wife of Gopal Bhuti, goddess of the household, was a very pious lady. She bowed to Maharaj's feet and said her wish remained unfulfilled. Maharaj understood what she said and applied kumkum to her forehead. He blessed, "You will get one more son, who will be very victorious. You will attain salvation during the time of your husband." Saying thus, Maharaj left for Raghuji Raje Bhosle's place. Raghuji Raje was pious and noble. He was a person most liberal and an ardent devotee of Shri Ram. His assets were blessings of Maharaj. Though he had lost his kingdom large, then he went to Ramtek. After taking darshan of Shri Ram with Hari, he returned to Shigao. Swami Shri Ranganath, a great sant of Dhar Kalyan, came to meet Gajanan Maharaj. They exchanged notes in their own way, not decipherable in a simple way. Shri Vasudevananda Saraswati, born at Mangaon, came to visit the Sant at Shigao. He lived on the banks of Krishna river and believed in ritualistic form of prayer. When he was to come to Shigao, Maharaj called Bala Bhau and said, "One of my brother is coming tomorrow. Be sure he is properly respected. He is very orthodox. See that the premises are clean. No dirty piece of cloth should be seen. If he sees any, he will be annoyed like Jamadagni. That Karad Brahmin is always clean. He is a learned man of discipline. He will never compromise on the right procedure of religious rites." So said Maharaj a day previous to the visit. Swami arrived at Shigao at the right minute. They looked at each other and smiled. Both appeared immensely happy. One was a believer in karma and the other was in yoga. One was like the sweet fragrance of jasmine, the other was that of rose sublime. One was like the scared Gangas, the other like Godavari rivers of Saga. One was the incarnation of Shiva, the other Vishnu resting on the king of serpents. When Swamiji came into the chamber, Maharaj was sitting on his cot, snapping his thumb with fingers. The snapping stopped when he arrived. The two sons looked at each other. Then Swami sought permission to depart from there. Mahabhav was surprised. He desired his doubts to be clarified. He said, "You two have different ways, yet you called him your brother. It is strange." Maharaj appreciated Bala's question. There are three paths to reach the omniscient. They all take you to the same destination, the final point of self-realization. They appear different and confuse the onlooker. Karma Marga emphasis on cleanness and silken wear, sacredness of human touch and worship thrice a day, fasting and rituals in a disciplined way, One who goes this way is a real orthodox. Any omission deprives him of the karma marga. He has got to be careful on his course. He shouldn't hurt others even by words. Bhakti Marga's stress is on devotional prayer. Here the mind has to be crystal clear. Even a shadow of an unclean thought will deprive the person of what is sought. Compassion, love, and modesty must rule the heart of the devotee. He must have faith in scriptures and worship, and continuously have the name of God on his lips. These are the requirements of Bhakti Marga. One who acquires them can meet God. This is the easiest way of self-realization, but practicing it is harder than the Karma Marga direction. Like the sky posing an illusion of being nearer to the viewer, the spread out of Yoga Marga is bigger than this. It lies in mind of the practitioner. A person following the Yoga Marga requires no external methods. Whatever is in the universe around can be found in his inventory. He travels the path of yoga with all these things inside, yet he has to know the methods regularly required in the series. Asan, Richak, Kumbhak, knowledge of Ida and Pingala, Bens, Dhoti and Mudra, Tatak. The yogi should know for his success. Knowledge of Kundalini and Sushumna should show him the right path. This will lead him to knowledge of self. Yet it has to include love for all. Any action without love is waste. It is thus essential to preserve the love aspect. On all the three self-realization trails, color of the skin, tall, short, beautiful and ugly are just attributes of the body. They have no effect on the soul. Everyone looks different, but has a soul in the same mold. The same thing can be said of the three paths. They look different but have the same target. This disparity is totally forgotten. When they finally attain their object, the path one follows is important to him. Those who fail brag about superiority of their trail. Those who succeed become sant. Once they reach such a spot, they merge in as one as a supreme thoughts. Vasishtha, Vamdev, Jamadagni, Atri, Parashar, Shandilya Muni traveled the Karma marg with great dignity. Vyas, Narad, Gayadhra Kumar, Maruti, Shabri, Akrur, Uddhava, Sudama, Parth and Vidur took Bhakti Marga as their route. Sri Shankaracharya Guruvar, Machindra, Gorakh, Jalandhar touched self-realization by following Yoga Marg tradition. Vasishtha, Vidur and Machindra each type got the same fruit of salvation. The tradition rolled on. Don't ever doubt it. Shripad Vallabh and Narsingha Saraswati from Gangapur, Anduma Pravadivadi protected the Karma Marg practice. Namdev, Savata, Dhaneshwar, Kanav, Chokha Mahat, Damaji Panta, Thanedar took Bhakti Marga path of devotion. Sheikh Mohammed of Srigonda, Anandi Swami of Jalna, Surji Anjan Rao's Devanta were all followers of Yoga Marga. Presently, Vasudeva has Karma Marga and I go by Bhakti Marga. Like many others on the devotional trail, like Dhundi Bhau of Parus, Sant Nana of Songir, Yashwantrao of Jalna, Kala Amar committed to Almighty, Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi, Gulab Rao with intellectual insight, Santa Partuji of Warkhed in Chandur Taluka, Santa Jhingraji of Pura, Nagpur's Tajuddin Baba. Though their ways were different, they commanded a saintly status. We all brothers have come to this earth to show to the devotees the right path to know the divinity. Each one will take the path of his choice and will ultimately rejoice and find salvation at the feet of Almighty. Now, Balabhav, don't ask me further, nor tell of this dialogue to others. Let me sit here quietly under the grip of being crazy. Those who have faith in me and have my love will see the fulfillment of their desires. I don't need the others. Knowledge about the supreme reality is to be imparted to those who are eager to study and not to non-believers and the scornful. We have to be steadfast on our path to walk towards the omnipotent God. Tears rolled from Balabhav's eyes when he heard the sublime advice. He was overwhelmed with love. His body shivered with extreme bliss, beyond all words to describe. He bowed to the Sant, bent on saving the oppressed. Among his other devotees was Sarubai. Once Maharaj said to her, "Take flour and pulses and cook day and night for the devotees. Go on feeding all those who came here. You will be dearer to God Narayan." Sarubai of Bijapur observed the routine. She is still alive in Shigao town. One Prahlad Bhau Joshi had an opportunity of being blessed by Maharaj, but lost it unfortunately. There was one Tulsiram at Jalam near Khamgaon. He had an intelligent son named Atmaram. Because of his special liking for Veda scripts, he went to Kashi for further analysis. A bath in Gangas, food from alms, studying with Guru was his daily program. Today's students are different. They waste their time in entertainment. There is no chance of learning with this type of predisposition. Atmaram had his own identity. He was aware of his responsibility. On return from his studies, he went to Shigao to pay respect to Shri Gajanan Maharaj. Atmaram had learned the Vedas diction, but Maharaj was the son of all comparisons. He recited the script along with Atmaram and corrected him where he was wrong. It was a surprise for everyone in the assembly to see the Sant react Vedas so fluently. How can a honey bee ever be away from the source of honey? Atmaram used to come Shigao from Galam and offer his services to a sacred mission. So much was his devotion that after Maharaj's sojourn, Atmaram looked after his memorial. He never accepted any remuneration for his selfless devotion. On the contrary, offered a donation. He gave up his property, house and land to the temple trusted's command. Never bothered about the amount. It is the devotion that counts. Shabri achieved the grace of Shri Ram by offering berries from the farm. Atmaram's humble donation brought him the same result. Dattatreya Kedar, Narayan Jamkar and Dudhari Bua, who lived on milk simply, were sincere devotees of the Sant only. Maruti Patwari of Morgaon, Bhakre in Balapur Tehsil, had Timaji Mali in his service. Timaji's job was to guard the crops in the Patwari's field. One night, Timaji fell asleep on the heap of grains in the field. Some donkeys entered the premises and started gobbing from the heap. As Maruti was a devotee of Maharaj, the Sant had to rush to the field to save the precious yield. He called Timaji to wake up from sleep. Timaji woke up to see Maharaj disappearing from the scene. He saw the donkeys and drove them away, but thought of Maruti's work at the break of the day. He realized that he had battered the boss. Nearly half of the heap was already gone. Timaji had a great sense of responsibility. There was no excuse for negligence of duty. as against this present day servants do not care for the interest of the master and are dishonest and arrogant. Timaji was not of that class. He was unhappy over the loss. He could not find reasons to excuse himself. He decided to own responsibility of the loss and beg pardon from the boss. Though in his mind he was sure that Maruti will forgive him for his behavior. He thus went to Maruti and humbly touched his feet. He said, "My sleep has put you to loss. While I slept, the donkeys consumed the half. Please come to estimate the damage and relieve me of my anxiety, Sant." Maruti said he had no time to inspect the field. He was going to Shegao for his darshan routine. However, on his return he would visit the scene. When Maruti reached Maharaj in the morning, the Sant was sitting with Jagu Patil and Balabhau near him. Maharaj smiled mildly and said, "I had lot of trouble last night. As a devotee, you have used me as a watchman at sight. You employ lazy servant and sleep comfortably. At night, the donkeys devour your grain stealthily. So I went and woke up Timaji. I asked him to watch the stock and came back." Maruti was quick enough to understand. He bowed down to the Sant and said, "You are our solo supporter. The responsibility of a child is on the mother. Whatever we possess belongs to you. You are in control of what we do. The heap of grain is yours. Just for name's sake, Timaji was there. You control the universe from here. A mother tolerates trouble given by children. I, being a child, you rushed to Murgaon to save me from incurring loss. I will go back and remove Timaji from service." Maharaj said, No, this is not justice. He is honest and felt sorry for his lapse. Did he not come to you to report the mischief? He even suggested you to go to the field to assess the loss in the yield. You told him you are coming here and go to the field after returning there. Maruti was overwhelmed by the limitless kindness of Sri Gajanan the Sant. No one had spoken to him of donkeys entering the field, yet he knew everything that what happened in the night by his inner vision. In Shake 1816, an incident occurred in Balapur city. Maharaj was sitting in the veranda of the house of Shuklal Bansila. He was bare-bodied 100%. Passerby paid respect to the Sant. A police constable happened to go in that street. His name was Narayan Asarji. He lost his temper looking at Maharaj and said the man was a hypocrite. He is sitting naked intentionally and this should not be tolerated kindly. He poured abuse on the Sant. Not satisfied, he beat him with the cane. In spite of the cane marks on the body, Asarji went on hitting him badly. A shopkeeper named Kundiwala intervened and said, "It is not proper to beat a Santa. You have no reason to act in this manner. God is the protector of Santa on this earth. Look at the chain marks on his body and put an end to this absurdity. This way you are inviting your own death, like a sick man ignoring rules of good health. You are doing the same by hitting pious man. It is not still late to beg pardon from Maharaj." The Havaldar said, "There is no reason for me to beg his pardon. A curse from a crow won't kill animals. This naked man on main road side is utterly filthy words. To brand me wrong is simple injustice." The prophecy proved to be true. The Havaldar and his relatives died in the fortnight without any clue. Thus each one has to be cautious in rating people around us to determine their credentials. Hypocrites of Sant, as it happened in Havaldar's case. in the district of Nagar, a small but beautiful town of Sangamner is situated on the bank of Pravara river. The famous poet named Ananta Pandi came from his small town only. A man named Hari Jakid lived here. He was a Yajurvedi Brahmin poor and moved from place to place for survival. In his travel, he reached Shigao to have a darshan of Sri Gajanan Maharaj. He saw thousands distributing prasad, celebrating fulfillment of what they asked with the blessings of Gajanan Maharaj. Looking at all that he thought, it appears I may have to go back without getting the grace I want. It is because of my bad luck. My luck stands like a rock. No vegetation, even grass grows on such surface. I get food one day and know not the fate of the next day. Such has been the life so far. No one will get me a bride. I am a pauper. O Swami Gajanan, abode of happiness ripe, I desire the pleasure of married life. I would like to have a virtuous wife, to have a mature born to rejoice. As Jakhar was engaged in his thoughts, Maharaj pondered in a different sort. He spat on Jakhar and said, others want to get out, but this person wants to get into the Mundana net. He looked at Hari Jakhadi and said, you will get everything you have deserved, a wife and a happy married life, with children and money on your side. Now go home and enjoy your lot. Don't ever forget the Almighty God. Maharaj have him money for marriage expenses. He lived happy life. How can the grace of Sant go west? Once Sri Ramchandra Govind Nimonka with Vasudev Bendare went to Mukhana river, which runs through the hills of Sahyandri in the Tehsil of Nashik at Igatpuri. The woods there were lush green, fruit-laden trees top bending, wild animals roaming without encumbrance. Along the river ran a small stream. It flowed through a narrow valley called Kapildhara by many. It is considered holy in countless ways. People bathed therein on auspicious days. Nimunkar was a yoga scholar. He desired to extend his knowledge further. He inquired with ascetics at the place. They all turned down his request. Disappointed by this, he folded his hands and implored God to show him the right man. Suddenly he saw a person at Kapildhara who could teach him the ways of yoga. He had long arms reaching his knees, who appeared to be a saga indeed. This calm man with face so calm was sitting there in meditation for long. Nimunkar prostrated before him and waited till evening for him to open his eyes. The yogi did not open eyes nor said anything. Throughout the day, he didn't eat a thing. Other assistants returned with the approach of evening. With folded hands, Nimunkar begged knowledge from the saga. The saga gave him a chart and said, these hymns has 16 words. Keep repeating them. You may learn yoga by their strength. Following yoga mark is difficult. As you know, an insect can't circle Himalayan region, nor can live sea shell climb Meru mountain. You may try yoga by being a bachelor and keeping your mind and body cleaner. If you do it with all sincerity, you may learn some asana without difficulty. Don't ask me any more questions. Take this prasad. The saga gave him a red pebble and vanished. The same yogi met Nimunkar at Nashik by the Godavari river. He ran to the Sant and caught his feet and said, you seem to be fed up with me. Last time we met, you never gave your name or address of the place to meet. Maharaj said, the red pebble I gave you tells my name. This is from Narmada and indicates God Ganesha. You couldn't guess it as it is hard to understand. My name is Gajanan and I am from Shigao. Come with me to the residence of Dhumar, where we will discuss about yoga in all. Thus saying, Maharaj disappeared as he talked. Munkar went to Dhumar's place, where he was happy to see Maharaj again. He bowed down to Maharaj in his mind and told Dhumar happening at Kapildhara and Nashik. Dhumar was happy and praised the Sant, advised Nimunkar to worship the pebble every day and perform the asanas in a regular way. Tukaram Kokate of Shigao faced the misfortune of losing his offspring when it was born. To Maharaj he promised child out of those which survived by the grace of Maharaj. He got 3 children, one of which was to be given to the Sant. Tukaram forgot about the promise because of his immense love for his offspring. Narayan, the eldest son, got sick one day. Medicines could not help him anyway. Tukaram remembered at this moment the promise he had made to the Sant. Narayan survived and served the Sant with grace, with a message to all to honor their promises. In the month of Ashad, Maharaj and Hari Patil went to Pandharpur city to meet Vithala, the Supreme Almighty, God addressed by many names as Kalpataru, Kamalapnab, and the all-in-all of sons, controller of the universe, and acclaimed by the Vedas as protector of all. Consort of Rukmini residing in son's heart, compassionate and kind of devotee from all parts and of all sorts. Maharaj arrived at Pandharpur and took a bath in Chandrabhaga river. Then he went to the temple to meet God Vithala. His prayer to Almighty was simple. O protector of all devotees, all powerful consort of Rukmini, please listen to my appeal. As per your command, I have lived in this world, fulfilling desire of devotees. You know my mission is now over. I seek your permission to go away from here. I wish to stay at your feet at Vaikuntha in the ensuing month of Bhadrapad. Thus saying, Maharaj folded his hands. Tears rolled out from his eyes at the thought of separation from Hari, who befriended him a lot. Hari Patil asked him with folded hands, why these tears? Have I hurt you by any means? Please tell me. I am perturbed at this scene. The Sant replied, you will not understand it. Even when I explained to you the reason, it requires a deeper perception. Do not harbor any tension. I can only say that our association is now coming to an end. Let us return to Shigao this moment. Prosperity will always reign on you and your descendants. Celebration of return were over. Hari Patil looked anxious, however. He told the people of what Maharaj said, of his association coming to an end. In the month of Shravan, Maharaj got weak day by day at Ganesh Chaturthi in Bhadrapad. Here is what he said. Now all of you should come to the monastery for the immersion of Ganpati. It is said in Ganesh Puran that an idol of Ganesh be made of earth on Chaturthi. After worshipping and offering sweets, it should be immersed in water next day, Panchami. That day is now here. Celebrate it by immersing my body in water. Don't wait at all and don't forget, I will always be here to protect and guide you forever and ever. I can never forget you. Throw away the torn clothes and wear a new, said Shri Krishna to Arjuna in Gita on the field. To that advice I will now yield and change my body as other sons did. Maharaj spent Chaturthi in a happy mood with Balabhau and devotees of the neighborhood. Next day, holding Balabhau's hand, he said, don't think I have left you. Keep up the devotion. Never ever forget me. I am here only for your information. Saying so, the great son stopped his breath and by pranayam pulled it up his head. This was at the noon of Bhadrapad Shuddha Panchami, Thursday, in Sadharan Nam Samvatsar, Shake 1832. While holding up his breath, he uttered Jai Gajanan and merged himself in Supreme Brahma at Shigao. His movement stopped thereafter, plunging the atmosphere into sorrow and disappeared. Very soon the sad news went round. Through the villages and towns, people gathered in great haste. They cried, beating their chest, "Gone is our living God. He is gone forever. Gone is the savior of downtrodden and poor. Gone is our solace and comfort and happiness. Winds of time having extinguished the flame of knowledge. O Gajanan, you were our guardian. Who will offer us protection now? There was no reason to leave us so soon." All the devotees, Vishnu Bankatlal, Marathon Patil, Tarachand, Shripatrao, Kulkarni, Hari Patil rushed to the monastery. It was the day of Rishi Panchami. All of them decided to close Maharaj Samadhis the next morn. This was announced at the site. They decided to wait till the evening for the devotees to come and pay respect. They remarked that fortunate ones will get darshan. This news went round to various sections. Govind Shastri Dongavkar, a learned person, said Maharaj would keep the light flame burning till the affectionate devotees keep coming. To prove that, he said, "Keep some butter on his head." The lump melted with the warmth. This was the effect of Yoga Shastra acquired by Maharaj. Govind Shastri said, Maharaj can live like this for a year, but it was advisable to close Samadhi after darshans are over. It was agreed by all. 1,000 devotees sang devotional songs. Devotees who lived far away from Shigao got the news in their dreams flashed by Maharaj. A huge crowd of devotees gathered at Shigao that Rishi Panchami. The chariot was decorated for his last journey. Many bhajan singers reached Shigao in big processions. Roads were clean and decorated with rangoli, illuminations with all over to celebrate the journey. Maharaj was moved to the decorated chariot and the last journey started. It went round the town all night, proceeded by musical bands on the right. Small groups sang bhajans, others said Jai to Shri Vithala. Tulsi, Gulal, Bukka were showered on Maharaj, distributing sweets as the sun's prasad. Some from the crowd showered rupees and coins on the chariot carrying the sant. The processions moving through Shigao reached the monastery at dawn. He was carried to the place of Samadhi and bathed to the chanting of religious melodies. Final worship was offered with rituals and honor. The gathering shouted Jai Gajanan, Jai to the God who came as a man, Jai to him who bestows immense bliss, Jai to the Lord of this globe. Saying thus, the body was rested, with head to the north at Samadhi place. Everyone watched it saying Jai Gajanan. The pit was filled with salt, argaza, abir and so on. The sant is still there. Prayers were offered for 10 days. Large gatherings visited the place. Each one was offered food on those dates as prasad of Gajanan Maharaj, the Sant. Innumerable devotees participated in the ritual. The greatness of Sant is really supreme. Even an emperor is insignificant before him. We hope this treatise bring happiness to the devotees. Sadguru Shri Gajanan Maharaj ki Jai. This English pothi was translated by Shri Shankar Pandit. Please share this video so that maximum devotees can avail Maharaj's blessings.